7 of the biggest real-world asset coins in crypto. Stellar, XRP, XDC, ONDO, Centrifuge, Canton, and HBAR. They all have institutional partnerships. They all have adoption headlines. Visa, BlackRock, Citi, JP Morgan. The names keep stacking up. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Some of these networks can succeed massively while their tokens go nowhere. And most investors never ask the one question that separates the winners from the bag holders. That question is simple. If usage on this network goes up 10 times, what actually forces someone to buy the token? Now, one important thing before we start. This video ranks value capture. It does not predict which token will have the highest return. A token with weak value capture can still outperform in a bull market because of speculation, ETF news, liquidity, or a hot narrative. Those are two different things, and confusing them is how investors get burned. Today we are ranking the structure, not the hype. Quick disclaimer. This is not financial advice. This is research and my honest opinion. Always do your own homework. Let's get into it. First, let me explain why this question matters more than any partnership announcement. There are two completely different things happening when a blockchain gets adopted. The first is network success. Banks use the rails. Stablecoins settle on the chain. Assets get tokenized. Press releases go out. The second is token demand. Someone, somewhere, has to actually buy or lock up the token for the price to move. Here is the trap. These two things are not automatically connected. A network can process billions of dollars in volume while generating almost nothing in token demand. That is called the value capture problem, and it is the silent killer of altcoin portfolios. Think about it like a toll road. If the toll is 1 penny, it does not matter how many cars drive on it. The road is useful. The road is busy. But the tolls barely add up to anything. Now let's rank these 7 coins, starting with the weakest value capture and climbing to the strongest. Number 7. The weakest value capture on this list. Stellar. And I know that sounds harsh, because Stellar just had one of its biggest news weeks in years. It became a launch partner for a new stablecoin consortium backed by Visa and BlackRock. Circle expanded native USDC to the network. Citi reportedly named it a top 5 network for tokenized assets. Real institutions. Real money moving. So why is it ranked last? Because despite all of those institutional announcements, Stellar's transaction fees remain extremely low by design. That is great for users. It is exactly what makes Stellar excellent infrastructure. But it also means network activity does not necessarily translate into meaningful demand for lumens. Institutions can use the rails all day without ever creating real buying pressure for the token. The network can win big. The token can sit still. That is the value capture problem in its purest form, and Stellar is the textbook example. Number 6. ONDO. ONDO is the most interesting case on this list, because it is not even a blockchain. It is a company that issues tokenized products. Tokenized treasuries. Yield-bearing dollar products. And credit where it is due, their products have real institutional traction. In the RWA world, ONDO is the brand name. But here is the catch that most holders never think about. You can buy ONDO's tokenized treasury products all day long without ever touching the ONDO token. The token is mostly governance today. The company can win big while the token just rides the narrative. Now, to be fair, that could change. The ONDO token may gain additional utility over time through governance expansion or changes to the ecosystem design. This is not a token that can never capture value. It is a token that does not capture much value yet. And remember the distinction from the start of this video. ONDO is the purest brand play on the entire RWA narrative, and when money rotates into this sector, ONDO often catches the biggest bid. Weak value capture, strong narrative. Know which one you are buying. Number 5. XRP. XRP is designed as a bridge asset for payments, with fees that cost fractions of a cent. And here is the nuance most videos skip. Many institutions can use Ripple's payment infrastructure without using XRP at all. But Ripple's on-demand liquidity product does rely on XRP. So there is a real usage path for the token. It is just not required for everything Ripple does. So why does XRP trade so much better than Stellar when their designs are similar? Brand power. ETF speculation. One of the largest and most loyal holder bases in crypto. Those are real market forces, and I am not dismissing them. Liquidity and narrative move price. But by our one question, the structural link between network usage and forced token demand is still partial at best. XRP ranks above Stellar because on-demand liquidity gives the token a genuine role. It ranks below the coins coming next because that role is optional, not mandatory. Number 4. XDC, and this is where the ranking might surprise you, because most people lump XDC in with XRP and Stellar as just another payments coin. I used to as well. But XDC deserves its own conversation. Here is why. XDC is built for trade finance, and trade finance transactions are typically much higher value than retail payments. We are talking invoices, letters of credit, supply chain financing. Big ticket items. And critically, XDC is the gas of the network. Enterprises interacting with the public chain need XDC to transact. That is a structural requirement, not an optional one. The honest caveat. Fees are still low, which limits how much value each transaction pushes into the token. So XDC does not fully escape the Rails coin problem. But higher value transactions plus mandatory gas usage puts it a clear step above XRP and Stellar in this framework. Underrated by the market, in my opinion. Number 3. Centrifuge. Centrifuge is a different animal from everything we have covered so far. It is not a payment rail. It is a protocol for financing real-world assets. Think invoices, real estate, structured credit, getting financed on-chain through lending pools. Here is why it ranks in the top 3. The CFG token does governance and staking that is tied to the actual pools being financed. The token sits closer to the real economic activity than anything we have covered so far. Is the connection perfect? No. The value capture is still indirect. And Centrifuge is much smaller than the other names on this list, which means higher risk, lower liquidity, and bigger drawdowns when the market turns. But when I ask the question, if usage goes up 10 times, does anything touch the token? The answer for Centrifuge is at least partially yes. Small position sizing, higher risk, better structure. Number 2. Canton. This might be the least known name on this list, and structurally, it might be one of the most interesting. Canton is a privacy-enabled network built by Digital Asset, a company that has spent years working with the biggest banks and financial institutions in the world. The design goal is regulated institutional finance, tokenized bonds, repo markets, settlement between major players. Here is the bull case. If the public token becomes the required economic layer for institutional activity, then usage could translate directly into token demand. That is a powerful setup, because institutional volume in these markets is measured in trillions. But notice I said if. The public token economics around Canton are still evolving, and I am not going to pretend that is settled. The honest risks are real. Canton is early. It isn't proven at scale. And institutional adoption timelines are always slower than crypto investors want them to be. So Canton ranks number 2 on potential structure, with the biggest asterisk on this entire list. High ceiling, real uncertainty. And number 1. The strongest value capture on this list. HBAR. On the surface, HBAR looks like just another enterprise Rails coin, and I get why people lump it in with the payments names. But the plumbing is genuinely different. Every single transaction on HBAR pays fees in HBAR. But it goes further than fees. HBAR is also used for staking, for network security, for validator economics, and for governance incentives. The token is woven into how the network actually operates at every level. And the network is run by a governing council of major corporations. Google, IBM. Household names with actual skin in the game. The honest caveat. Fees per transaction are still small, so HBAR needs serious volume for that demand to move the needle on a token with billions in market cap. But among all 7 coins today, HBAR has the strongest and most established structural link between usage and token demand. That is why it takes the top spot. So let's put the full scoreboard on screen, from weakest to strongest value capture. Number 7, Stellar. Number 6, ONDO. Number 5, XRP. Number 4, XDC. Number 3, Centrifuge. Number 2, Canton. And number 1, HBAR. And notice the irony. The coins with the biggest adoption headlines often have the weakest tokenomics, and the coins with the strongest tokenomics are often the ones nobody is talking about. Here is the thought I want to leave you with. The biggest mistake investors make is assuming that a successful company automatically creates a successful token. Those are 2 different investments. The winners over the next decade will not just have the biggest partnerships. They will have the strongest connection between network usage and token demand. That is the gap I am watching. Not the partnership announcements. Not the influencer threads. The gap between usage and token demand. If this framework changed how you look at even one coin in your portfolio, do me a favor and hit that like button, because it genuinely helps this channel reach more investors who think for themselves. Subscribe if you want more research like this, because I am doing deep dives on under the radar plays every single week. And drop a comment. Which of these 7 coins do you hold, and did your coin land where you expected in this ranking? I read every comment. Remember, it is never too early and never too late to start building wealth. I will see you in the next one.